Barbara Crampton, welcome back to FrightFest.
Oh my God, I'm so happy to be here.
It's so wonderful to have you back. This is how many, third time for you?
It is, yeah.
Amazing. And you've got 2 films playing at the festival.
Yeah, I have 2 films at FrightFest. One is Puppet Master, The Littlest Reich, and then the other one is Dead Night.
Amazing. You've had such a run of such brilliant films over the last few years as well. I mean, how's it been for you sort of throughout your career, from sort of early days of the films that you were doing through to now? Have the roles changed for you? Have they gotten better?
I think overall, maybe they've gotten better for me, the roles now as opposed to the past. But I will say, because I can't forget this movie, From Beyond, I had a really nice role in that, and that was at a time when you didn't see too many multi-layered or multifaceted characters doing a lot within one movie. I was a psychiatrist, and then I became a femme fatale in black leather, and then I was trying to save the people in the movie, and then I went crazy. So that's a pretty good acting bit within one film. But as of lately, I don't know, maybe with maturity, I'm older, I can play, scrappy older ladies and more character parts, and I feel like I'm getting the best parts of my career now.
Wonderful, yeah, and there've been some fantastic films as well, and it feels like it's very popular at the moment, these kind of almost sort of nostalgia films as well, sort of people want those kind of, Puppet Master has got brilliant sort of practical effects and that kind of thing. What is it about that era as well, the sort of 80s horror era, that people sort of are so nostalgic for, do you think?
Yeah, I think people are more nostalgic for the 80s horror lately because a lot of the people, men and women, that grew up watching those movies are now of age to make their own movies. And so we had this period of retro horror that's, I don't know, it doesn't seem to be giving way to anything else. We've been doing it for about, it seems like 10 years or so. Yeah. We have these throwback movies, and I feel like I've been in a few of them. We Are Still Here and Beyond the Gates, and now Puppet Master especially. It's a call back to a time in horror when practical effects were everything, and that's what people are concentrating on, and fans seem to be really liking it. I like it. I like all the practical effects, so.
Totally, yeah. Yeah, I mean, and do you think that sort of horror in general has sort of changed, that you've seen? I mean, like at the moment, you've got movies like Get Out that get nominated for Oscars and win, and people are talking about, like, are we living in sort of a golden age of horror at the moment, or has perception changed? I mean, what do you reckon?
Woody Allen said in, what was that movie? Midnight in Paris, the golden age is now. And I don't think you know that you're living in a golden age until you look back upon it, and you see what is the flavor of what has gone on, and what has replaced what's gone on before, and you almost don't see the trend until you're in the middle of it or towards the end of it. I think it's a really good time for horror right now. I can't say we're in the golden age. I mean, people talk about the 80s as being a golden age. There'll probably be another golden age, but what that is, I don't know. I certainly feel like horror right now is identifying with a social consciousness, and we've done that in the past with a lot of films, but especially, in America with what's going on in our country and the nationalization and, the alt-right uprising and things like that, and the rise of Donald Trump and just a lot of mean-spiritedness. I've noticed that people are commenting on that a lot. I mean, with a film like Get Out, it's exposing what's always been there and what we thought was better, but we now realize it really hasn't gotten better, and it's been kept in the closet, and now because of the way certain people talk in America, it sort of gives permission to others to also talk that way.
Yeah, absolutely. And, horror films are great, as much as they're designed to scare us, they're great escapism, aren't they? That's the thing, they're great fun.
Well, that's the other side of it. Yeah, I mean, with all the fears and issues and problems that we all face in our individual lives and in society, you can watch a movie and see someone overcome crisis and, any kind of issues of life and death, and hopefully overcome it, or prepare you for the inevitable, your own death, or some horrible tragedy, because we're all going to have tragedies in our life. I mean, nobody escapes that.
Definitely. So tell me a bit about Puppet Master then. Tell me a bit about this is the 12th movie, I believe, the official movie in the series.
I think it's more than that.
And maybe it's more.
I mean, it might be the 14th.
Oh my goodness.
I'm not entirely sure, because Charlie Band has his own sort of franchise of Puppet Master that he's had, since the early days. And Dallas Saunier, who owns Cinestate and who recently bought Fangoria, said to Charlie, I would like to take your franchise and have the possibility of making my own reimagined film using the name Puppet Master. And you can keep your own universe, and I'll start my own universe. And Charlie Band was offered a deal by some big companies, and I don't know which one it was, but it was someone like Warner Brothers or Sony or whatever, to do a similar kind of thing. But they said to him, you're not going to retain any of your rights anymore. You lose all your revenue going forward. We'll pay you handsomely, but that's it. You don't own Puppet Master anymore. And he always turned that deal down until Dallas came by and gave him such a respectful offer that he took that. And no one in Hollywood has ever done that before. This is not a deal that's ever done. So this is kind of an experiment, and we'll see, how well it does. Charlie has his universe, we have our universe, and, I don't know if I'll be part of the second one, but that they may or may not do. But this one, Craig Zoller, who wrote Bone Tomahawk and Brawl in Cell Block 99, wrote this one, and initially he was going to direct it, and then he had some other things he had to do, so they found a couple of guys to do it, Tommy Wickland and Sonny Laguna, and then they decided it was so over the top and gory and bonkers that they wanted to ground it in a little bit of comedy, so they hired Thomas Lennon for the lead, and put a few other comedians in there, Nelson Franklin and Charlene Yee, and then they hired, I guess the old guard, if you want to say that's who we are, Michael Pare and myself and Udo Kier as André Toulon. So I was in the very first Puppet Master.
Yeah, it was a kind of it was a sort of cameo role.
It was a cameo because I had done From Beyond and Reanimator. I guess they felt like I was part of the family at that point of Empire Pictures, then Full Moon, and they said, "Oh, we just want you to do something in Puppet Master. We don't have a role for you, but would you like to come in and do this cameo?" And I said, "Sure, I'll do that for you guys one day." And I don't think I'd be sitting here with you today talking about this Puppet Master if I hadn't been in the first one, because it sort of made sense to just put me in there as, the recap person who comes in and gives a tour of the mansion and recounts the murders that happened 30 years ago. And I sort of fill everybody in on what's going on in this new universe.
It's wonderful. There's some, like we mentioned, there's some absolutely brilliant gore in this as well. I mean, what was your reaction when you saw it? I mean, just as an audience member, are you good with gore and that kind of thing?
Reading it, I didn't get the visceral response inside my body that I got when I was watching it at the premiere. I was mostly focused on the characters and their killing, and it seemed fun and funny to me.
Yeah.
But over the top gore, and I think actually the guy who did our special effects, Tate Styzik, kind of went over and above what was already in the script, and he even came up with a few of the kills and the gore scenes that weren't in the script, and he said, well, this is cool, but I could do this if you'd like me to, or I could do that. And so they gave him free rein, and he's fantastic and wonderful. And
it felt like there was some stuff that I'd never seen before. It was great.
How can they outdo? I mean, there's been so many things that have been done, but they outdid themselves. I was in shock in the audience, when I watched it at the premiere.